is a basic introduction to crochet hooks, their textures, different styles, and just how they work with other fibers, and trying not to give you carpal tunnel. And so we shall begin. Okay, for anyone who is new to crochet, we're going to be showing different types of crochet hooks and why different textures on the hooks matter, because texture controls friction. If you keep hearing that whiny noise in the background, it's the cat. He thinks he has the right to go outside whenever he wants, and he doesn't. But here we have basic plastic. This kind I find works better with more natural fibers, and for some reason with acrylic it just sticks more. But this is your typical Boye style head. I picked the biggest ones that I could so you could see shape and how, see the front skinny. Other ones are a little bit fatter. Not all of them are always so pointy. Like, that was kind of pointy. It's another Boye head. It's a little bit wider in the front. Yeah, you can say, oh, it's because they're different sizes. No, they're almost the exact same size, or they should be the same size. And that lobe part in the front can be bigger or smaller depending on who you bought it from or who made it. Or like, here's another, what's what I call a fat head. Seeing how different that they are. They are very different, and the curviness here can matter, or even how well it's carved out underneath. See that underneath there. Everything affects everything. Now, in my opinion, metal goes with every single fiber possible, as long as it's not too worn out. And just to say, I showed you, here's another Susan Bates. It's more of a wedge versus a curl over like that. And it's much wider, but I find it's easier to keep the stitch stretched out with that kind of shaft. That's just my opinion. Not everyone goes along with that. However, I find that Boye or Boye-like heads are better for smaller, thinner yarns versus thicker yarns, because it just helps with gauge and how you make your stitches. Now this one is called Fentex. It's one that they don't make anymore. It's first cousin to something like a Bernat, or it was the predecessor to Boye, where again the front part right here is fatter. It's quite pointy and it's a little bit wedged, but it still has a really thin neck, so that will affect somewhat how well you can keep the stitch stretched out when you're making it, or loops and whatnot. But these thin necks are really good for if you chain really quickly and make really lacy things, and that's what you'd use for like thinner projects. Now, this is a Susan Bates head. It's wedged, but this is actually aluminum. It is not enameled. This nice gray shiny one is super glossy. Enameled means that it's like extra, it's like an extra layer of nail polish was put on it, so it's extra slippery and it's metal. These are glorious. I kind of unofficially collect them. It's either Bernat or, read that on there, Phentex, or anything that has this enamel, because Bernat, I believe, also made knitting needles that had this coating on it. Glorious! Absolutely glorious. Now this gray one is just gray and shiny like any other typical crochet hook, and that's aluminum. Like if you melted down a Pepsi can, you could make a hook too. And that's what that one is. USA, cannot beat it. So far, every hook I've shown you is for sale in my eBay store, because there is such a thing as gluttony and owning too many items of something you already own multiple copies of. See if we can pull a few more out of here. Also this weekend, I have for sale a hero. A hero is also very closely related to Boye heads, if you're a collector. Now this is all of my H's. I just grabbed a random pile just to show you again the heads and the textures, new versus old. Let's see which one I'm looking for here. Oh, that's plastic. Plastic. Oh, really? Okay, here's one. USA Susan Bates. This is a very common one, common color. It's that edge tip and it's extra pointy. This is why I like older Susan Bates as well. And it's made in the United States. Woohoo! See that on there. And they tell you it's also a size 8. And, well, they don't tell you it's Bates. We just have to know that it's Bates. Or at least it's the first cousin, because Susan Bates was not the original one. Originally, I believe she started out as someone named Marcia Lynn. That's just another name that you can look for. Now, these are newer, probably not made in the United States. These are Boys. These are both H's. You see how the front lobe here, it's not quite as fat. It's a little bit thinner. The necks are a little bit thicker by comparison. And they still have that almost like pyramid, like the bump is in a different spot, but it still has like that shape to it. And those are probably more recently made in China. And those are, metal's good, like I said, for almost every fiber, just about. It's only plastic that you gotta be careful with because it just drags more. And dragging more will lead to carpal tunnel and possibly not liking the project as much. And you think, oh, it's just me. No, it's because you put acrylic with acrylic and it doesn't always work. And that's just the truth. Okay, any other textures in here? I think that's about it as far as size and shape goes, because, I mean, unless you're going super small, they don't really matter as much, because those are the only 3 normalized textures that you're going to get. I mean, you could do wood, but I hate using wood. I hate it with a passion. Let me see if I can't find that one big one that I have. Oh, here's that one, that faux bone. There's a one put out by Marcia Lynn or Red Heart, and they claim it's bone. And it's not. It's just a glorified plastic. It's the color of aged bone, but it's not actually bone. It is still a variant of plastic. And even these kinds, they get a little bit less glossy as time goes on, but they still work quite well, better than many other types of hooks. Okay. Oh, there's the one. There's the one hook. I did, for one whole day, try to use this wooden hook versus the really, really big ones I got laying around. This is a Laurel Hill size G. Now, the handle on this one was glorious. I love that. But how they wedged this wasn't deep enough. See how there's almost like no light? It doesn't go up deep enough for me. Even though the head was just too big and it wasn't as fast as I was used to going. And there was a lot more piston-like motion with it. And if you love this one, please buy it, because it's the only one that's in here. Otherwise, I am Susan Bates forever. If not, it's Bernat, because the texture is worth it. And I should probably mention, all the hook makers have jumped on the handle bandwagon. They do make separate handles that you can add to things. Like this one comes with the hook. This one is not currently in a project of mine. This is a separate handle. You just shove it down in there. They come from Joann's. They're really hard to pull off. It's not glued or anything. It's just on there. It's not too big. And this is all that I need. Now this is one of those made in China, more modern Boye ones, where it's a little bit pointy. It could be pointier. It's a good grip. I mean, it's really strong grip on that. If you like Boye, so it's good for making a lot of chains. But other than that, it's a hit or miss for me. Let's see, what did I pull this out of? Oh, this was created by Crochet Dude, the same guy who makes those big egg-shaped crochet grippers. Oh, found another one. Cool. Here's another Pentex, also known as early Bernat. It's that same sleek neck, wide front, deep hook. Love it. The same flat gripper. They should bring this back, especially the enameling. The enameling, it's just so slick. It goes with all fibers. It makes all of them softer. It just do, in my opinion. But yeah, that's about it for as far as crochet hooks go. I'm secretly hoping that, even though these are all individually for sale, I need one more, and then I can make an all pink set and put that for sale as a different listing. But yeah, everything's in the eBay store as far as hooks go. If anyone saw anything that they were interested in. I mean, if you like sparkle, we got sparkle. Or any other color. And just to make a point of reference, for anyone who doesn't know why or how a person would want to use the rinky-dinky made in the United States little hooks, those are for beading. Those are for crocheting with beads and thread. So, if you really want to use a magnifying glass, that's what those are good for. Okay, is there any other final tips and advice regarding crochet hooks and yarn? Go with whatever is flexible for you. Experiment, borrow, whatever you got to do to find out how your hands work the best. Not everyone's hands work the same. Some people hold it like this. Some people hold it like this. Some people hold it like this. Whatever works for you. But now, make sure that the yarn fits the hook. Because if you can't get gauge, like if you can't do this, it might be too tight. Because if it's too tight, you're not going to want to work on it. It's going to give you a migraine. This is the whole point to art, is to not give yourself a migraine. Just think logically, please. It's about self-exploration. It's about self-encouragement. It's about learning from your self-inflicted mistakes. Learn, people. Learn. But what I have right here that I'm working with, Sweet Delight Airplane, just some gray yarn. Hobby Lobby brand. It's like a sport weight. Oh, they say on here. Now, this is a 5mm. It says you can go down to a 4mm. Or no, 4.5. But I always make mine a size bigger anyway because I like the flexibility of the fabric. And if you go too tight, your fabric will start to feel like burlap. So this is a list of suggestions, not gospel. That's all that it is. It's suggestion. So just a basic kind of thinner sport weight, basically. You know. Nothing too big, nothing too small. But do this test. You will thank me. How does it fit inside the hook? Is there space? Is this going on? And if you... It's like... does it go up and down easily? The holes you make, does it go in real easy? Like this is single crochet that I'm working on. No matter how much you tighten it, can you still see like air through it? Can you when you go back through? Can this happen easily? Is it smooth? Is it consistent? That's what you need to do. I mean, sometimes, you could if you wanted to. This is thread. Actual, like, thread. A little bit thick for sewing, but a bit big, wouldn't you say? I mean, you could technically crochet with it, but why would you? You'd need a much smaller hook for the stitches to be equal with the thickness of the yarn. Just the way it is. Or even the super thick stuff. I think I have a scrap around here. This is like uneven yarn. It's super fuzzy. I think this one I probably could work with, but it's a little bit thin. I'd probably go down 1 or 2 hook sizes for it to be something I would feel comfortable with. Don't have any super chunky, but yeah, that's basically it of all you're looking for. So that your hands are comfortable, your gauge is comfortable, the fabric and the texture of the hook don't create friction. because friction is bad and will prohibit your creative process in general. But there's a lot to choose from. Many things are from the past. A lot of the stuff that they're currently, like the no-name stuff on Amazon, it would be wrong to say it's against my religion, but at the same time, whoever they ripped off to steal the pattern from, clearly they must have had a vision problem, because they went from beautiful pointiness of usefulness and curved necks and whatnot to this. There's almost no point. It's offset. Usually the wedge part isn't deep enough, and if you use crappy supplies, the joy in your work will reflect in it. It won't encourage you to make more. So don't buy crappy supplies. There's enough secondhand stuff on eBay and other places that you don't have to suffer. You really do not need to suffer for any size. Or even if you don't understand how to use the smaller ones, who says you won't in the future? Just get a good selection. Just learn to play with things. You are only as good as your tools, so get a decent enough tool so you won't have to say, oh, I can't do something because, and it'll be some cockamamie reason, and then you talk to someone who knows what they're doing, and then you're like, oh, I was wrong all those years I was denying myself this potential happiness in crafting. Yeah, you were. So try to get the good ones. Like I said, my hands work better this way with this hook. Other people are better with the more curved over tip, like this one, and they do more like this, but they make more chains because they make stuff more like that. And yes, those holes are microscopic. I hope this helped everybody. If you have any questions, leave them below, because I generally stock anything I make on YouTube. So happy making things, hopefully. That is the goal. Peace out.